For the 2018 model year, Lincoln released the all-new and improved Navigator, and that was a gigantic success. Earlier this year, the Aviator made a comeback, and that was a huge success as well. Today, we're taking a look at Lincoln's all-new compact size SUV, and that is the Corsair. Now, one thing we're going to note right off the bat here is that the Corsair does share platforms with its extremely ugly cousin, and that is the Ford Escape. Now, Lincoln reps, they kind of don't really want you to start talking about the comparison with Ford and everything, because they want to stand alone. They don't really want to be known as a Ford. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because Lincoln has done a fantastic job in differentiating themselves from Ford, especially in the later models, the Navigator, Aviator, and also the Corsair. So for the people watching today's video, and you might be thinking that a Lincoln is just an overpriced Ford with a different dress on, I'm going to do my best today to prove the opposite. But before we continue on with today's video, I want to give a special thanks to South Hills Lincoln of Pittsburgh for providing the car in today's review. If you live in the area and you're in the market, definitely check them out. I'll leave all their contact information along with their inventory information in the description below. Now, we're going to start up front here and the power plant. So the Lincoln Corsair comes available with two different engine alternatives. The first one is a turbocharged inline 4 producing 250 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to a new 8-speed select shift automatic transmission. Our tester here today, though, has the turbocharged 2.3 liter inline 4 producing 295 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. That is 295 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, by the way, and the torque is available at 3,000 RPM. There's not much else to look at here. It's a tiny little 4-cylinder with a lot of plastic over it, so we're gonna, yeah. Now, the Corsair replaces the outgoing MKC model from the Lincoln lineup. However, unlike other SUV models from Lincoln, you can't get a Corsair in the infamous black label. What you have to choose from is either a standard Corsair or a reserve Corsair, which we have here today. So this is the highest trim level that you can get. Now, obviously, there's different equipment packages and so on. Our tester here today has 19-inch wheels. Now, you can get different wheels and also a little sportier appearance from the Corsair with the available appearance package. Now, it goes without saying that the Corsair is not the biggest SUV in the Lincoln lineup, but in layman's terms, instead of talking about cubic inches and all that stuff, you can fit a semi-bald Swedish man, a backpack, a couple GoPros, and probably like a suitcase and a camera bag and grocery bags. And now it also comes with the pretty cool kicking motion for closing and opening the lift gate. As long as you have your key fob on you, all you have to do is walk up to the vehicle and boom. This has been around for a few years, but it's actually pretty cool. I had this on a previous car of mine, and in the beginning I thought, man, this is a stupid feature, I'm never going to use this. And then all of a sudden I find myself walking up to my car, arms filled with whatever it is, groceries or golf bags or something, and you just swipe your leg. Now, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. We're going to talk more about the interior here momentarily. But my favorite physical feature of the Corsair is definitely the rear end. We have taillights that wrap around the whole tailgate. It's just a very classy and good looking SUV. And just like its big brother, the Lincoln Aviator, it has the same design language, the same theme, and that is the aviation theme, where we can see that the roof line, it slopes down at the end. So it gives this SUV just a very streamlined, elegant look. Now before we jump inside, we'll mention real quick that there's 3 different ways to enter the Corsair. The first one, of course, with your key. Just keep it in your pocket. We have sensors on every door handle. So you just walk up, put your hand on the door handle, and it automatically unlocks. Now the second option is through the Lincoln app, meaning you don't even have to have your key with you. Third option is the good old keypad that every Ford product now gets. This is very nice. When you buy a Ford or a Lincoln, you get a 5-digit code that basically unlocks the door for you. Now you can't start the car and drive off, but you can enter the car. So always remember your 5-digit code. You can customize that, by the way, to something that you might remember easier. If you don't have your key with you or even your phone, you can always get into your Lincoln Corsair. All right, well, let's jump in. And we're not going to start with the driver's seat. We're going to start with the passenger seat, because one huge improvement from the prior MKC is the leg room, aka knee room, for the second row. Now I am 6'2" and I fit perfectly fine back here, and that is pretty impressive for a compact SUV. Plenty of headroom as well. Now another very nice feature is the new panoramic sunroof, which goes a lot further back than it did on the MKC. This also enhances the feeling of a lot of room back here. It's very, very impressive. Now we can fold this middle part down here, and then we have cup holders like that. Voila! We also have heated seats for rear passengers. This is part of an Elements package, by the way. And then we have 2 USB ports. We have a full power plug back here as well. We have the classic old map pockets back here for the people that still read magazines or read maps. You can keep them here. Now, before we leave the rear seat, you can actually move it front and back. Now, for better leg and knee room, you obviously leave it back. If you want more cargo capacity, you can move it up. But time for the driver's seat, because this is where you're going to be spending most of your time. And we'll start with the door here. We got very nice leather. Our tester, by the way, as you can see, has a nice light leather interior. And Lincoln kind of does this Mercedes thing where they have the seat positioning on the door panel. We got 3 different memory seat options. We got window controls and lock and unlock and so on. Now the seats, these are 24-way perfect positioned seats, as Lincoln calls it. Now I have to say that Lincoln is killing it when it comes to seat comfort. So we're gonna move these around a little bit here with these buttons. So we got all kinds of different support here. We got lumbar support and bolster support, all kinds of stuff. It takes too long to sit and demonstrate all this here, but these seats are fantastic. As we step inside here, we should be very grateful that the Corsair is copying its big brother, the Aviator. The interior is absolutely amazing. We have the voice activation button actually located right here on the steering wheel. So if you're driving like you should, 9 and 3, just move your thumb right there and you can pretty much tell the vehicle anything that you need. So let's start her up here. Even the chimes Lincoln have worked on, they've actually partnered up with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. So, I mean, it's the little things that actually makes a difference, because most vehicles have, we all know it, annoying chimes. But the Corsair is just a very, very nice place to be. You can tell that Lincoln, they focus more on elegance and classiness than they do sportiness. But if we take a look at the mid console here, it's a classy look, piano black, and I like that we actually have physical buttons and not everything is touchscreen. We basically have our climate controls right here, heated and ventilated seats. We got volume buttons, tuning buttons for the radio and so on. Now the gear selector are kind of like piano keys as well. We got park, reverse, neutral, and drive right there. Definitely something that I think most people will have to get used to. It's not a shift lever on the column, and it's also not a shift lever right here. You have to push these buttons. Now, Lincoln have been doing similar designs like this for a few years. We had buttons right here on the earlier models, but now we have these little piano key looking things. I mean, I don't really know what I think of that, but just something to get used to. Now the instrument cluster is also very classy. If you take a look at the tachometer here, it's like a laser needle going up and down. The same with the speedometer. Now we have the buttons here on the steering wheel to flip through the features and what you want displayed on the instrument cluster. Now the infotainment screen is based off Sync 3. This is a pretty old system now. It came out in 2016. However, it still works very, very well. It's easy to navigate. It's very responsive, but yeah. I mean, if you've been in Ford and Lincoln products for a while, this is starting to look pretty familiar. My guess would be that they're going to update this in just a year or two. We also have the Ultima Revel sound system, and Lincoln is the only auto manufacturer to use the sound system. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it's always hard to demonstrate in videos like this because it doesn't do justice, but it's a 14 speaker system in the Corsair, and it's phenomenal. Now there's a lot of technical features in the Corsair. Now every Lincoln comes standard with Lincoln's Copilot 360, and that includes automatic high beam headlights. By the way, the switch is sitting down here, and it's not a turnstile knob. You go up and down like that. It also includes blind spot detection monitors, and the side mirrors are really, really big, which I like. Very good visibility overall in the Corsair. We got that big quarter window in the back there for improved visibility. Now we got lane keeping system, pre-collision assist, and a rear view camera as well. Now you can upgrade to the Copilot 360 Plus, and one of the features you get is the 360 camera, which is also phenomenal. Very good resolution. We're talking almost Mercedes-like resolution on the backup screen here. Now you also get adaptive cruise control, forward sensing system, and rear brake assist. Now one little gripe I have here is to get this annoying auto stop start feature off, it's no longer just one button push. You push here, and then you have to go in here to the touchscreen and turn it off. You can tell that at least Lincoln as an auto manufacturer is starting to make it more and more difficult to turn this stupid feature off. After a while, that's obviously going to be standard. You're probably not going to be able to turn it off at all. But I always turn them off when I'm in cars that have them, and that's how you have to do it. Up here we got a sunglass holder. We got vanity mirrors with lights. Now if we open this mid console here, we got a little cubby spot right here. You can remove this, and then you have a pretty deep cubby right here. Now it has wireless charging in here as well, and it's like a little sleeve where you can stick your phone. That is pretty nice. It's not going to be flopping around and flying all over the place. You got a pretty deep cubby here as well. Now before we take it out on the road, the last thing we're going to talk about is the different drive modes. And we got a little turn dial right here, and we're currently in Excite mode, and it says responsive and engaging, basically meaning that you got better throttle response, it'll hold the gears longer, and so on. If we turn it to the right once, we have conserve, which is efficient driving. Turn it one more time, we get normal, that's effortless and balanced. Get slippery mode. We got deep conditions, deep snow, mud, and sand, and that turns off the traction control. Obviously means that if you're stuck somewhere. Now we're gonna keep it in Excite, of course. All right, let's take her out on the road. Right when you're taking off, kind of sounds like a diesel, which most people probably won't even care about that. And one good thing about that though is that it feels like it has diesel torque as well. Yep, 310 pound-feet of torque. We also get adaptive suspension, so in these turns it actually hugs the road pretty well for an SUV. It gives you kind of that feeling like you're driving a car. That's always nice when you're driving an SUV. All right, floor it. I mean, it's not a race car, but it's definitely got pickup. It's quick. Now, with the 2.3 liter, you get all-wheel drive as standard. If you opt for the little smaller engine, the 2 liter, you have front wheel drive as an option if you feel like you don't need all wheel drive. But where we're located in Pittsburgh, definitely the all wheel drive option. So what does a Corsair actually cost if you're looking to buy one? Well, it starts at $35,000, and that's in the standard trim level. If you opt for the reserve trim level, the higher one, it starts at $42,000. And if you check every box and pick every feature, you're ending up at $61,000. Now, that might sound like a lot of money for a tiny little SUV like this, which actually doesn't, again, feel tiny. It's very roomy in here. But if you compare it to its extremely, extremely ugly insect-looking cousin, which is the Ford Escape, like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, interior-wise, exterior-wise, feeling-wise, everything is different. It is day and night. So it's obviously gonna come down to the person you're talking to, but if you're asking me, it justifies the premium price tag for the Lincoln. It's just, there's no comparison. You don't feel like you're driving a Ford at all. So we're gonna shift drive modes here into conserve. And right away you can tell a difference in the throttle response. You definitely have to push down on it a bit more until the acceleration gets going. And we're gonna pass someone here real quick. Yeah, it definitely has the power you need when you need it. Now it's going to be very interesting to see how the Corsair stacks up against a very competitive segment. It competes with the Mercedes GLC, the Volvo XC40, Cadillac XT4, Audi Q3. So it goes without saying, it's a pretty tough competition, but since Lincoln came out with the Navigator, followed up by the Aviator, and now the Corsair, I'm just so impressed by the feel of quality you get in the newer Lincolns. And with that, I think we're gonna end today's video. Again, special thanks to my friends at South Hills Lincoln for providing the vehicle in today's review. Definitely check them out if you live in the area. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think of the new Corsair in the comments below. If you're stopping by for the first time and you haven't already, and you want to, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.